Hello and welcome to Fireside Chat. We have with us Ravindra Kelkar, who's the Vice President of Application Delivery and Security for APAC and Japan, Citrix. So as you know, the last year has been extremely difficult for the entire world. So the technology world was no different. People have innovated both at the buyer end as well as the technology provider end. A lot has changed in the cloud computing, virtualization, and the security space as an ensuing outcome of these wide changes. To understand more how the markets have shifted, how customers have adapted themselves, and how technology providers have helped to close the gaps, Ravindra Kelkar will be sharing some of his invaluable insights. Hello and welcome to this conversation, Ravindra. A warm welcome to you.
So looking forward to talking to the audience on new emerging trends and how are we looking at our next 18 to 24 months with the lens of technology provider.
Absolutely. So that brings me right into the first question. So how specifically have the last 12 months been for Citrix, and what do you envisage as the next 12 months, both from an India and APAC perspective? So if you could really walk us through what really happened, in terms of technologies, in terms of focus areas, what transpired and what you expect to transpire, Ravindra, all yours.
So last 12 to 18 months have been all about connecting people with technology, right? Because what disrupted most in the pandemic is people, because they couldn't turn up to the work or work in the way that they were used to in the past, right? So obviously enterprises had to gear up to give them technology applications access, to do their work on a day-to-day basis. Citrix has always believed that work is not a place you go to, but work is what you do, right? And that became very, very mainstream in the current pandemic. The way I look at it in terms of last, say, 12 to 18 months and next, 12 to 18 months, last 12 to 18 months, I think, was all about the rush of connecting people with technology, as I said, right? And many times as IT owners or as security buyers, we might have taken some shortcuts, right? People were okay with okay experience, right? Which is not going to be the case for next 12 to 18 months, right? So last 12 to 18 months was all about getting, people connected. If I need to have access to 12 applications on a day-to-day basis, giving me access to those 12 applications. But moving forward, now the gear will shift and people will talk more about experience, having the same experience irrespective of place of work, and really settling down as people turn to work, but work in the new model where constantly you're not spending as much time in the office, but in the place that you like and really getting your work done. So in short, that's how I see the last 12 to 18 months is always next 12 to 18 months moving forward. Chantari.
Sure. So you moved to a new role quite recently, within the last quarter. So what exactly has shifted due to the new role? So if you could elaborate a little on that, and also specifically about Citrix's go-to-market strategies more at an APAC level. So if you could just elaborate a little on that.
Yeah, sure. So from my role perspective, it's now not necessarily restricted to India, but APJC, Asia Pacific, Japan, and China, and more importantly, focused on two architectures, which is networking, which is now what we call application delivery, and security, which is the new emerging and area where Citrix is investing a lot moving forward to really gear up for giving solutions in the new way of pandemic. If you look at Asia Pacific, Japan, and China, right, it's pretty diverse, and even within, say, just India, there are different target segments which have different level of maturity. So I will necessarily not go into specific countries and within that what are different verticals doing, but really stick to the mainstream, which is all about the new normal or hybrid work and what's happening in the context of that, right? So one thing that we all agree has definitely changed is that people have moved beyond the firewall, right? And people are going to choose their work or place and not necessarily come to the office. That basically talks about 3-4 promises that we as IT vendors need to make And our entire go-to-market is evolving around that, right? First is experience, right? Users will ask the same experience that they were used to, or even better experience with passive times that they were used to, as if they were working on corporate given devices in the office, right? They are probably now expecting better experience with what's happening with us as a consumer of technology in B2C world, right? Look at an airline application today. The look and feel simplicity of an airline application is very, very different than when I come to corporate environment where I'm flooded with host of applications, each of them having its own security, authentication, look and feel being different, things like that. Vis-a-vis an airline application, whether I book the seat, I need to see where would my luggage arrive after landing at that airport, or I need to book a hotel, or I need to book, uh, you know, uh, uh, conveyance. It's all out of the same interface. Users are now expecting that kind of experience to come to the corporate world, right? And Citrix is doing quite a lot of work there, and I will talk about it. Second is really the choice. Choice not only in terms of physical workplace, but shadow IT, as they talk about, right? People need application access to applications that they need from their business standpoint, which are not necessarily apps that are approved by corporate IT, and then corporate IT needs to secure those applications. Number two, they are going to be working on laptops, desktop devices that are not necessarily sanctioned or given or authorized by the corporate IT, BYOD as a big concept that's coming in, right? So second pillar is all about choice. I think users are wanting to have that freedom to really decide the choice of technology that they will use, time of work, and all of that. And third is the security, right? As I said earlier, that users have moved outside the firewall, and entire IT world was structured about users coming to the office or to the branch in particular and communicating from branch to the corporate data center and backwards. In the pandemic, couple of things happened. Number one is people have moved outside the firewall, right? So this whole notion of perimeter security is going to go away, and people are talking about zero trust, right? Because you never know who is coming into your corporate network using what kind of device. So that's number one thing that I changed from a security perspective. Second thing is that now users are coming from as many offices, because number of offices is equivalent to number of homes of employees. And how can you have the old way of security, which is centralized, right? Of bringing all the security traffic to the security operators, which is deployed in customers' own data centers, and then switching the traffic to the cloud. With users being widespread, right, for multinational organizations around the globe, why can't you have a security model which is now moved from corporate data center into cloud, and users are directly hooking on from their respective locations from the devices that they want directly into cloud. So moving forward, there is quite a lot of action that will happen from a security perspective, and security being majorly delivered out of cloud. An old way of doing things, which is VPN, are clearly going to be things of the past, and we'll move forward. So entire GTM of Citrix, which is the question that you asked, are actually centered around these three pillars: experience, giving much more better experience to the users through digital workspace platform. Second is the choice of making applications very intuitive on the device that you use, on the networks that you are used to using technology like SASE to give better user experience. And then third is about security and the models of new trust models that I spoke about around zero trust and things of that sort. So those are really the key things which are really common across all markets within APJC, because this entire experience of working from home is a forced experience that have been forced equally on all industries, right? So that's more of a common theme that I thought I will highlight today in today's interaction.
Sure. So, Ravindra, that comes to the other question, which is a rider to this. So, Citrix also has a robust and a very value-added partner ecosystem. And how integrated are they with all these moves and go-to-market strategies that you have?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, as we move to the cloud, we feel now partners will become more, mainstream, and there is more focus for partners moving forward as Citrix looks at better success, from H2, which is the calendar year that we follow, and moving forward. From a partner ecosystem perspective, there is a lot to learn from each other and along with each other with the customer, right? So number one thing is we are working with the partners to ensure that they play the center stage or mainstream go-to-market activities in the entire security GTM that I spoke to about, right? Because as customers look at completely new security paradigm, our partners need to get used to, selling to that, security paradigm. So that's the number one thing that is clearly changing. Number two thing, from a partner ecosystem perspective, that's changing, and we are working a lot with them, especially the large SIs, is around digital workplace, right? Digital workspace. Digital workspace is a platform. You need to do quite a lot around it from an app integration perspective, on look and feel, and really making that app experience that I spoke about in the personal life that we are used to on mobile app, as an example of an airline or any service provider that you spoke about. Partners have a big role to play around some of this, right? Third thing is where we are even working with the partner ecosystem is around entire gamut of app security, right? That's clearly coming up as a big notion. I was looking at a Forrester report in the morning, and app security has suddenly become, quite a lot of focus areas, because 37% of the attacks are happening uh, with uh, with this notion of app security, especially web apps, right? And we're working with lots of uh, companies, including customer security departments directly, to really revive their app security framework around API protection, bots, and things of that sort. So those are the things from partner ecosystem perspective that are changing. In summary, really reviving what we are doing with partners on new security models, digital workspace as a platform, working around bringing new experiences to the corporate world, app integration, all that I spoke about, and third, mainly on the app security piece, which is to do with API, bot protection, and things of that sort. So those are really the thoughts around partner ecosystem, Shante.
Great insights. Thank you so much, Ravindra, for making time out of your busy schedule and quickly joining us for this fireside chat. Thank you very, very much. And that was Ravindra Kelkar, who's the Vice President, Application Delivery and Security for APAC and Japan, Citrix, joining us on Fireside Chat. Thank you so very much.